the town where the jazz is swinging high. It's the New Orleans Outsider with Chris Goff, my oh my. We may be outsiders, but our love for New Orleans is true. So come along as I share it all with you. Sights and sounds, food and drinks. We're here to take a ride with New Orleans Outsider as our guide.
And here are your hosts, Chris Goff, Peter Newkirch, and Justin Appleberry.
We've taken you all around the French Quarter, but one place we haven't gone to yet is right next to the Mississippi River, and that is the French Market. That's what we're going to be talking about this week on NOLA Outsider. I am Chris alongside Peter. Justin also out on assignment again. I mean, this guy has so many assignments, he's never here anymore. But Justin will be joining us some other week. But anyway, Peter, the French Market. This is an area of the French Quarter, and it is a spot that it's actually, if you look on a map, it's about 6 blocks long, which is hard to believe when you think about it, because I don't know, part of me just thinks, okay, you got Cafe du Monde, you got the flea market-y stuff. Oh yeah, there's some shops in between, but if you really do it, it's about 6 blocks. Along the Mississippi River there. And it's got everything from food to shopping to, the iconic landmark of Cafe du Monde, all the way down to, you're pressing against almost Frenchmen down there, where you get to the flea market sort of street vendors underneath the roof area. So we pretty much make this, my wife and I pretty much make this a stop every time that we go there, just because it's constantly having vendors there. It doesn't matter if it's a weekday or weekend, and we always find ourselves over there. Is that the way you sort of found yourself there?
Yeah, it's I would recommend it to anybody as a first time person going to New Orleans, that yes, it is a tourist attraction, no questions, but they cover a good chunk of what you want to see. So everything's going to be a little inflated in prices, but if you want to just get your feet wet and figure some things out about New Orleans, it's a great place to start.
It is.
And yeah, we go just about every time. If we don't go down there and look around, I always end up truly running through it in the morning as they're cleaning it up.
Yeah, you're you like to, you do this crazy thing. You exercise during vacation, which is like a no for me, but you and my wife and maybe one or two of our other friends will occasionally find themselves running along the river is like where I think most tourists like to go, and that goes right up hand in hand with the French Market over there.
Exactly.
It's like, when I first think of the French Market, I think Cafe du Monde. That anchors it towards the French Quarter, towards Jackson Square, I should say. And, Cafe du Monde, we have not done a show just on that because it's just, I don't know. It's such an iconic place. I don't know what else we could even add to it, but it is that is the mothership there that everything sort of rotates around, I feel. And even though it's, sort of a separate entity, I guess, it is right on the end of it, so I sort of lump it in there. Cafe du Monde is one of those places that when I first went, I went there a couple times in a row just to get the beignets, get the coffee. I do love the Cafe du Monde coffee because I do like the chicory coffee. It's a little bit different taste. I like the difference. I like the feeling of being in New Orleans when I get a can of it and bring it home. But but it's one of those things now, after being a quote unquote veteran of New Orleans, that I have no desire to really go back at the one that at the Jackson Square, just because that thing, if you don't get there when the sun rises, that damn line is, I don't know, going all the clear way across Jackson Square towards like the central business district. So I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, if you're surprised at how long it takes to get a seat for fried dough with powdered sugar and a cup of coffee. But it's great. It is truly iconic. I think it's one of those places that no matter what, if you've never been there, you should go visit, have the experience of sitting down, understand, no matter how careful you are going to be sticky when you leave.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't matter. The combination of the dough and the intense amount of powdered sugar will definitely get on your nice shirt or your face, definitely your hands. So,
yep.
But it is a every city has their you must do this, and that is on the list of New Orleans. You must go to Cafe du Monde if you go there. You have to.
Yeah, and you're right. It anchors the French market.
It does. Now, I was looking into the history of the French market because, of course, everything in Jackson Square area / the French Quarter in general has a lot of history to it. And the French market actually began as a Native American trading post long before the Europeans arrived. So that's interesting. Of course, it's right on the river, so that makes complete sense that way. In the 1720s, the French established a formal market there, making it the oldest public market in the United States. That's the 1720s. So then in the late 1700s, they call this the Spanish era. It expanded, rebuilt after fires. Spanish arcades influenced the architecture. In the 19th century, it became a vibrant hub for Creole, Caribbean, Italian, and German vendors selling fresh produce, seafood, and specialty goods. And then we go to the 20th century. It survived the decline of traditional markets by embracing tourism and crafts while still serving locals. So, it's interesting how much history just that area has right there. And like I said, it would be an excellent spot right there on the river. And, I think every city across America, Kansas City definitely has their share of local markets, farmers markets, vendor fairs, whatever you want to call it. And this is sort of amalgamation of them all together. It's much like everything in New Orleans. It's cool. It's such a melting pot of different traditions down there. Of course, the heavy French influence, but you got the Spanish here now. We've talked about the Irish Fest. We've talked, now you have also the Italians and Germans there. I don't know. It's a microcosm of New Orleans in that if you go in there, and we'll talk about it in a second, but the food, the people selling things, Cafe du Monde, it's all of that wrapped up into one.
Oh yeah, and just to be clear, it is not a farmer's market. There is a farmer's market. There's several in New Orleans. This is not it.
Did you ever go to one there?
Yeah, I've been to a couple small ones, like more of the pop-up kinds.
Yeah.
I mean, they're farmers markets. I like farmers market, but they're nothing that were knocking me out, as far as I have to go back. Sure. But yeah, who knows? Like a lot of the cities that have adapted, I don't know when they stopped selling produce, but it has been a long time gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that's sort of the story of America, right? I mean, there's like it feels like the only farmers markets that I really see nowadays, even in our own neck of the woods here in Kansas City area. It's like it's some people that have decided to have a small garden, and they're either single or just a couple, and they bring it to the local city to sell it. It's not like the old days where when I was growing up, there was like farmers around here who had been around for centuries, and they're the ones that would come and sell corn, by a lot. There was it seems like there's no middlemen anymore. You're either a big corporation or you're a tiny guy selling it out of his little garden that he has in his half acre. And that's probably the way it went down there.
Yeah. The one here, it does have a lot of produce on the weekends. But it's mostly Amish, which we have a lot of in the area, come in to sell that. And then a mix of people of various Asian backgrounds who have the half acre somewhere, and they're growing vegetables that people are looking for. And so you have everything from Southern Indian and Northern Indian to the Filipinos and everybody coming in to sell different things.
One thing, staying with the vegetables here, one thing that they do have at the French market every year in June, of course, is my all-time favorite. They sort of house the Creole Tomato Festival. The Creole Tomato Festival is, I think you've been there where we've seen the sign. I think it was up last time we were there. They have the big sign on the end of the farmer's market that talks about the Creole Tomato Festival, which we've talked about that before a little bit here. And when we went to the, Muriel's has that special menu. But this is like the Creole tomato is a type of tomato that is grown in New Orleans, and it has a little bit of a different taste, and it only grows for it only is around for a couple 2-3 weeks, and they really celebrate it down there, and the hub of that sort of celebration is at the French market.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good tomato, but it's a big thin skin tomato. just can't. And it's short, and like I said, it's a very short season. So I think all that put together never made it a viable tomato for being shipped anywhere.
I had a friend ship me some heirloom tomatoes once, and I had to lie and tell him that they were great. They were more like ketchup by the time. He sent them in the mail. He sent them. It was like $70 shipping to send me like 6 tomatoes, and I think about 3 made it. And I said it was the most expensive BLT ever. But the French market, like I said, if you're it's on Decatur, it's right on the river, Cafe du Monde, Jackson Square. So if you're at Jackson Square and you're looking straight at the river, it's to your left, in the corner of your left up there. And if you go up there, there's basically 4 parts to the French market. You have the farmers and the food stalls, so that there are some fresh fruits, vegetables, and then, it's seasonal dependency. You got the Gulf shrimp, the oysters, I call them pralines, the pralines down there, hot sauces, spices. Those stores seem to be there all the time. Like I said, the vegetables are seasonal. Then you got their prepared food vendors, where they do have sort of like quasi little restaurants in there. Like it's a food court type feeling there for a little bit of the French market. They have po' boys. I've seen jambalaya, alligator on the sticks there. They got the snowballs, beignets, of course, from Cafe du Monde. Walk a little further before you.
There was a bakery that was doing really good. She did individual sweet potato pies.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, I mean, she was there for quite. She was younger, but I think she's still there.
What would you say? There's a dozen or less. I mean, I can't. Yeah. I don't really know how to. I can imagine it's probably pretty hard to get a stall there. I don't know. Like I don't know how much you have to pay or how you have to be on some waiting list to be in there. But of course, the foot traffic up there is so great that I mean, there's farmers markets around here that have limited stalls, and so they're on waiting lists. I can only imagine what it is there. Then you get to like the craft and art vendors, which is where you get a little bit more of the street artists that sell like their glassware or some canvas paintings or some photography and stuff like that. And we've bought several things from there, various things, gifted them to people. And then finally you get to the 4th part, which is the flea market pavilion, which is underneath these roofs. I think every day these people come in and load their stuff in and then load it out every day.
Every day. I mean,
it's amazing.
I thought it was a weekend thing for a long time, but I've looked over the years, and they're there every day selling.
Yeah, and so that's the I mean, I would imagine like 20, more than that, 30, 40 years ago, that was probably more, like flea market-y / antiques, maybe even. I bet there was more of that stuff, because you've seen this sort of trend through the years where it's like, okay, these places sell like cool, unique items. I've been to these, and then over time, it sort of gets inundated with sort of craft / t-shirts, like knockoff things, sunglasses, hats. There is one dude that I have bought several like vinyl / CDs from that always has like a music booth there. And he's always selling like just like little instruments and, varying like different music things, CDs, vinyls, tapes, everything. And that's always fun to go through. But the rest of it is a lot of, like stuff that you would buy at any kind of like, knick-knack shop in New Orleans, right?
Yeah. You can get your alligator heads, your alligator teeth, your alligator t-shirts, your alligator hats.
Lots of alligator stuff.
Oh yeah, and then all of your NOLA and every version of NOLA hats, t-shirts, purses, bags, travel bags, backpacks, sunglasses. Yeah, lots of sunglasses there. Overwhelming number of sunglasses
and t-shirts and hoodies. Yes, I mean it's you can get.
Yeah, but yeah, there are a bunch of artists down there doing some really good work, and you will find sometimes that those artists are selling at night also, and they'll sell their bigger pieces maybe at other places, but they do some of their smaller work that's a little more affordable at the market. They just bring in like almost like comic book boxes full of 11 by 8 or 13s or whatever, and prints and photography and everything. And it's a little more affordable. For being a tourist area, it's what actually is the better deal down there. And then there was a couple down there forever who was selling Lego minifigs, and had some very rare ones that was really looking for some Lego parts. So you could get them down there.
Oh yeah. No, you can find a lot of different things there. And it's like this is one of those things like it's best to go in the morning, you get it's not as crowded. You get the fresh stuff there to pick through everything you want. I feel like it's the best time to go in there in the morning for the produce and the stuff in the flea market. And then, we don't spend a lot of time there later because we're usually doing other things, but like in the afternoon, evening is where they will have more like live music there. And it will be a little livelier because it is sort of an open air area market with all these, food options that are sort of, carnival, like carnival fare in terms of like walk up, order it and get away. It's like a food court, like I said.
Yeah.
So,
and of course there is alcohol, plenty of it. Many stores down there. You don't have to worry about going dry in the market. They have several stands that are selling various forms of common alcohol beverages from New Orleans. There's that one store that it's like they sell the Cafe du Monde beignet and coffee mix. They sell the Molly's mix or not the Molly's mix, but the Pat O'Brien's hurricane mix, and they got anything that's a mix down there that they got it at that one store. It's a kind of a one-stop shop to get your stuff.
Is that the same one that has like every hot sauce too? Is that the same one? Yeah.
There's a place that sells local jerky. So if you want alligator jerky, that's probably your best place to get it.
Now, when you eat these, I've been to a lot of jerky stores now through the years because I'm a big jerky fan. Do you taste anything different, Peter, or do you think it's all sort of the same kind of meat? They just discolor it a little bit and call it ostrich.
It's all chicken.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm like,
caramel coloring.
This is gonna taste so different from the others, and like it's kangaroo, and I'm like, nope, tastes like beef jerky.
Yeah. Spicing is definitely different. Yeah, they could be. It could all be chicken if they're just adding more or less caramel color to and different spices.
I don't want to burst any bubbles out there, but
it's not about this place specifically. It could be. That's pretty much any jerky anywhere.
Yeah. No, beef or buffalo. After that, I feel like this is rhinoceros jerky. I don't know if I believe it. So, the other thing about that, I love going there because it like smells great there, right? You got all this food cooking. We've gone there so many different times of the year. There's a couple stands that are sort of out by themselves, like little kiosk-y bar like areas that have like. I see oyster shucking go on there sometimes. Yep. And then I see this other dude, he's there a lot, where they make basically like street corn, on the cob. Yeah, and that's so good. It's just so good.
He does really. And if you've never had oysters and you're like, I would like to try just oysters. I don't want to go to a restaurant and do a whole meal. I just want to see if I even like them. He's not cheap, but he has good oysters and he's fast. And that would be, if you just want to be like, I want 3 oysters, you can get them there. And you're going to know whether or not you like raw oysters.
I do want to, gator-on-a-stick is a big one there. Of course, is like fried alligator sausage with the Creole mustard. They do have a place that sells crawfish at Touffet. Like we talk about, tons of hot sauces. There's several shops along that way, and I think Aunt Sally's is my favorite to buy the pralines at. I've always called them pralines. You call them pralines? What do you call them?
I call them pralines.
Yeah, it's the Midwest way of saying it is pralines, but pralines is how they say it down there. And like Aunt Sally's is the one that I always go. That's my go-to. COVID has screwed up many things, and one of the biggest things that screwed up is all the free samples of pralines that they had out cut up, and you could try all the different kinds. And the free finger food stuff has pretty much died with COVID. I don't know if that's ever coming back, but all those places in New Orleans, because there's so many of those places right there that sell pralines. And so they all had free samples. They're all great. They try to make, it's like anything else, they try to make every flavor under the sun, but the original's probably always the best.
Yes, 100%. They did a great job of getting the balance of. I felt like they added more pecans than anyone else did.
Yeah,
which was good. But they feel like they cook their sugar a little more, so it's got a little bit more of that caramel flavor to it.
It does. I agree with that. I agree with that. There's a lot of street musicians around the French Market.
Yes.
In fact, our own friend Richard Piano Scott, he plays up there. He's got several like times during the year where he's like called on to come up there and sort of be like I remember this year alone at the French Market, he was called to go up there and play sort of like some history of jazz music for the Jazz Fest. He's up there during several of the, I think like there's several times during the year. It sort of coincides with the big festivals that come into town, and he gets gigs up there where he just plays up there in front of the public. You know, you don't have to pay or anything. And it's, you know, there's a lot of people like him playing up there throughout the year, throughout the day. And
when you say through the day, it's all day and well into the night. Because
sure.
When we were down there in June, you know, I go running right by there at about 6:45, and there was a brass band firing up at 6:45 in the morning, playing. That's someone told them to be out there, and they were out there playing. There's all sorts of. You got your New Orleans Christmas all year round store, which is for some reason packed all year round.
You know what? My wife can't resist those stores. Can't.
Yeah.
So that's the other side of the street, right? So the French Market's on this side of Decatur, and so the other side of Decatur that is facing the French Market are several stores that we always go to. So I sort of lump that into this area. You got the Christmas in the, I forget it was sold several years ago, but it stayed a Christmas store. Yeah. So my wife can't resist that store. She always has to go look for some damn yearly ornament or something.
Yep. There's not a dealer, but there's a Harley Davidson store right there. So your New Orleans, if you want everything, if you're a big Harley rider and you want your New Orleans gear, that's a place to go. Sure. There's a bunch of iconic statues in there. Joan of Arc's the big one, but there's several really nice art pieces in there that are just scattered around to go see. You can do a little seek and find.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite like sort of hole in the wall places that we will go to when we're like, I've had enough fish and shrimp for these few days. We go to El Gato Negro, which is a little Mexican stop right there. And I guess it has another, I didn't know it was like a sort of a little local chain. I think it has one or two else around the city somewhere, but the El Gato Negro is really good. I mean, it's like it's super authentic Mexican food. And if you just need something different, I do not go down there for Mexican food or Chinese food or pizza or any of that stuff. But if you're like, man, I can't handle yet another 5-star meal somewhere that's going to cost me a few $100s, I'll go over there and it's good. It's like right by the French Market. So we usually make our little way through there.
It's not at the other end from,
it is
basically all the way at the other end from Cafe du Monde. Yeah. It's a nice little place. And I mean, really, you could make a whole day. You could wind your way through the market, starting at Cafe du Monde, walk all the way, and then you end up at the back end of the Jazz Museum. And so
in the Mint.
Right in the Mint, yeah.
Yeah,
and
so
then, if you still got something to go, then you head up Frenchman Street because that puts you right there.
I would love to like do a deep dive one day on the Mint because like, of course, it's not a functioning mint anymore, but I think it's super cool that, it was once a national mint there. So, and they have made it a museum now. And just the history in that building would be, I've never spent much time in there. Have you?
No, that's, we did the New Orleans collection last time we were down there. That would be my next choice to do the new, I guess that's the newer Jazz Museum, but I'd like to do the Mint and to see the whole history on that because I find that stuff fascinating.
Yeah, the Mint is a they sort of house a stage for the French Quarter Fest, so it's always sort of like in the middle of everything over there on that side of the French Market. Like you said, sort of a bridge between that and it's close to the Louisiana Music Factory, which is sort of to me the start of the Frenchman area. So it's sort of bridges the gap between the French Quarter area to Frenchman Street, and it's a nice. You could make a day out of that, like you said. You could just you could go through all that and then head down the Frenchman And that's something we never do, like, because I love that. I love going down there, and we want to go to Adolfo's. We want to go to, we haven't properly gone to like DBA or any of those in so many years. Our friend Justin, he wants to go to the Spotted Cat. He'd never been there.
Yeah.
I'm like, you've never been there? But I forget, he wasn't at like our younger days when we would go to the Blue Nile, Spotted Cat, DBA, and all these places. Pre-COVID, another pre-COVID thing. And, and the art market, that was such a thing that we wanted to do every time.
We've spent a significant amount of money at that art market.
Oh gosh. I have several pieces I'm looking at right now on the wall that came from there, but yeah. And this is all sort of connected to the French market. Another
thing to note is, even if you go down there in the summertime, pretty much from Cafe du Monde all the way to the end of the market, it's 90% covered. It's open. It's open air, but it's covered. You can just get through it even the hottest part of the day. If you're just like, I don't want to be stuck in the hotel or whatever, I want to get outside. Yeah, you can move through there, and you're not in the sun.
No, you're right. It's most of it's covered, and there's a lot of storefronts there if you want to dive in there for some coolness there. I mean, there's a toy shop that, of course, my kids have sort of grown out of that phase of their life, but there's a toy store, there's the pralines stores, there's many like sort of higher level souvenir shops. They're not just your straight like keychain place. It's nicer stuff. A lot of those things to jump in there. There's a public restroom over there. You can walk through it and go over to the river right there and see the water traffic over there. Another place I did want to mention, Peter, that I don't. Yeah, you went there. The French Market restaurant is sort of also across the street as well, which for those that have been there and might not know that exactly, that's the one that has the cutout window with the boil happening there like every day. And so whether it's crawfish season or it's just for shrimp, it's just this steamy, they're smart. They put it right in a window. It's steamy. You smell it. You see the corn, the sausage, and whatever, kind of shellfish they have in there. But it's like, it smells so good. And I wish every place had that, because it's I wish that could line every street. But they were smart.
Like the Chinese restaurants that hang the Peking duck in the window.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much.
And
so.
I like for many years, when I could find it, I would buy the Cafe du Monde coffee, and I like it very much. But then I found French Market, their blend, and I actually like it better.
Really?
Yeah.
French Market is it chicory still?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never had just a straight up French Market out of the can. I know for Justin, I bought him some cans of just a straight up. I think he liked the French roast and the straight up chicory blend. But I've never had the French Market.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
What's the difference?
I think it has just a little more. I feel like it has a little more chicory in it, without being overwhelming.
Huh. Okay.
And whatever their roast is a little bit different. I don't know. It's, I think they call it a medium dark instead of a medium. I think it's I'm not going to say it's a better one. I just prefer it.
Now, are you a man? Do you drink your coffee black, or do you put stuff in it?
No, I believe that a little cream and sugar enhances the coffee.
Okay, well, good, because I agree. But my wife and our friend Travis, but my wife, she drinks it. She used to be like the cream person, but now it's straight up black coffee. And like, because she was doing like whatever the fast, if you fast, you have to have nothing in your coffee. You just have coffee. So she stopped having cream. So now, she calls me a wuss because I got to put cream in my coffee. But she would, I know for a fact that if she was still using cream, I could bring that chicory coffee home and she would have no problem with it. And I still like that different flavor. She would never drink that black. Yeah. I just don't think she would straight. It's just got a different taste, and she's finicky. So that's not going to happen.
Well, I give her credit that she came a long way to just wanting to drink black coffee, because she was the person who added a little splash of coffee to her creamer.
Yeah, she was. I mean, it was like, is that milk? No, that's my coffee. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, she's gone full circle. And like, our friend Travis is very proud of her. He thinks less of you if you put anything in your coffee. And, they call it on the East Coast, they call it a regula. is cream and sugar. So I mean, that's regular coffee for people that need coffee. But
yeah,
but whatever. But I do love the chicory coffee. I think that's a cool thing that they kept historically. They added the chicory beans because they had a coffee bean shortage during the World War, and so that was their blend of sort of like, you know, producing more. And then it got to the point to where they just, you know, obviously after the war they could have made it all coffee beans, but they kept the chicory in. And I just think that's a cool twist on their regional coffee. So.
Yeah, and actually, our good buddy Garrett taught me years ago that a good cup of coffee goes really good with a morning cigar, and I find that the New Orleans style chicory coffee just complements it even more so.
When was the last time
Especially
you had
with your preferred Rocky Patels?
When was it the last time you had a morning cigar?
So the last time I was down in San Antonio.
Okay. I haven't had a morning cigar in a while. I mean, if I'm around Garrett a little bit, he makes me have like a cigar on the hour pretty much every hour. Yes. But I haven't just woken up and be like, God, I need a cigar. You know, but you know, I'm not against it. But I do think it's funny when you read some of the tips on the French market online, they will talk about bring cash because you got to haggle, you know. And which is funny because so many cash is like dying, as we know, like no one under 30 has cash.
No.
Haggling I grew up, my grandparents would haggle with anybody. It doesn't matter. And then I found it funny that my wife actually haggled with people at Walmart, which I didn't know it was even possible. She haggled at Walmart. And then another guy I know haggled at Sam's Club, which I'm like, how is this even and they like listened and they actually did it. And I was like, wow, you're a braver person than me. So if you bring cash, you can haggle. And obviously cash is king still. So you could get a better deal down there. But there's enough ATMs there with the $5 charge that you can get cash anywhere you want.
You can always buy your money down there.
I love that. I am happy that I do have a bank that will pay me back. I don't know how many ATM charges a year. So when I'm down in New Orleans, that just rolls right off my back. So, you know, I'm rolling large over here. I don't need to pay that $3 charge. Okay. But yeah, haggling, your thoughts, haggling at Walmart, your thoughts?
I didn't know that was an option.
It is.
I will keep that in mind.
The patio set that you have sat in at my house was haggled at Walmart.
I don't doubt that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny. Speaking of farmers market, so I am from my dad's side, I'm 50% German. My mom's side, 50% Czech. But prior to me being around, my family lived in Italy for quite a while, and you have to learn to haggle over there over anything. So watching as a kid us going to the farmers market in St. Louis, the Soulard market. And watching my mom, who was like a different person, haggling and arguing with the vendors over what she was willing to pay. Oh yeah, was amazing because she just fell right back into being in Sardinia and fighting over how much she was going to pay for a tomato.
That's funny. My grandma's the same way. My grandma's the sweetest, laid back lady, but we'd go to a flea market, antique place, or a flea market. In today's world, I think people think like junkier stuff, but flea markets actually used to be nicer things than I would consider in 2025. But she would she would never pay full price. I mean, it was against her like blood to like, oh, you wanted $20, I'm going to ask for 15. You know, like she would never just like, here's 20. You know, like so she would just turn into a completely different person. I'm like, she's not really angry, but very aggressive. And I didn't really see that until she was haggling for some kind of glassware.
That's great.
Yeah. That's interesting. That was also, but that's also, I think both of our family members were talking about, they were children of the 30s, like the stock market crash, the depression. So they are very much more, they're not paying full price. That's just not happening. So,
no, like down there at the market, in the flea market end, definitely, you do have to be like, I'm not buying one pair of sunglasses. Like, let's combo these up. Like you're asking me for 20. How about 2 for 15 or 2 for 25?
Sure.
Come on, man. Let's make this work, because you paid like $2 for those glasses.
Yeah, you're frank on American Pickers. You're bundling. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're bundling.
Yeah. I have no problem bundling.
I don't know, but I think if you're going down to, there's a long laundry list of things that you should do when you're first going to New Orleans for sort of that, like when I lived in New York and people were like coming to visit me, I, of course, like in any town you live in, you don't go to the Statue of Liberty unless someone that has never been there comes and you take them to the Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty, like Central Park, whatever there's a list of things you do. And New Orleans has a list of those things too, and one of them would be the French Market. It would be the French Quarter, the Jackson Square, of course, the French Market. I don't know, maybe a little Frenchman, definitely Bourbon Street. I mean, there's things that you do, but the French Market is like you said, a wonderful place for people to start one of the days in the morning to just sort of like understand the community, see how it all comes together. It is right there in the middle of everything. And I definitely think anyone that goes down there should spend some time doing that, as well as the artists around Jackson Square. I mean, it all sort of connects to each other. That's the cool thing about New Orleans, and that is why it will always be way better than other towns like Charleston or Door County, Wisconsin, because these things all connect, and you kind of just walk. Like I walk across the street, and I am going from the Jackson Square straight into the French Market, straight into Frenchman Street, straight over to Marigny. This is how it works there.
Yeah. I was talking about the French Market, and how it very much reminded me of the main market in Budapest and the main market in Vienna.
Really?
Had that same feeling. They're not the farmers market. It's a lot of food and craftware and everything else. But like you said, you walk from one into the next. There's no gap, and you're just going to, especially in Vienna, you're just going along the Danube, and you're looking at the bridges, and then you go through the market, and there's every kind of food from French to Russian, and everybody's happy to sell you anything. And then you walk off, and next thing you know, you're in Beethoven Plaza, and then you're walking past the Opera House, and it all disconnects, and then you're at the Royal Palace. So, you're right. It is definitely better than Door County or Charleston for sure.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I'm reading a little bit more about the history. When the French founded New Orleans in 1718, the market became the city's commercial heartbeat. So by the Spanish colonial period in the late 1700s, the market was formalized with covered arcades and regulated stalls. So in the 19th century, it was the place where cultures collided. You had Creole cooks. They shopped for the fresh herbs and seafood there. Italian immigrants brought over garlic, olive oil, and citrus. German butchers sold sausages and cold cuts, and Caribbean traders brought tropical fruit and spices. And of course, in those days, it wasn't a tourist attraction. It was what they considered the grocery store of New Orleans. And, they continue to bring that there as much as they possibly could in today's world, where it's not obviously the same, but it's, they still have the flair there of all that during different times of the year.
Oh yeah, and it's a big collective, and you're right. And if it's around a holiday, everyone down there is definitely celebrating whatever holiday is coming up.
Oh yeah, or festival. I mean, it's like, we've never done just a show on all the festivals because we wouldn't have enough time to cover them all. But I mean, we've even seen our good buddy chef Kevin Belton, like he did a whole season of his television show just talking about every festival that takes place within New Orleans and just maybe Louisiana proper. But I mean, it is amazing. And I'll give them credit. They know how to play up and get things going and get people there, whether it's the Professor Longhair Festival or the French Quarter Festival or the Jazz Fest or the 100 other festivals they have, the Gumbo Fest. These things Creole Tomato Festival. I mean, a lot of them are constantly going on. And the city as a whole knows how to always have a party and always have they know how to break down one weekend and the next weekend onto the new thing, and it's that's what makes the place so great. But anyway,
talking about the history of the market is a great. Garrett's good buddy Joe once told us that the French found were the founders of the city. The Spanish built it, and the Italians own it. And if you remember that, you can see the city is for what it is.
Oh man, see, I never got to meet Joe, the idyllic Joe, but that's perfect. That is how the history was: French, Spanish, Italian, a little Irish in there, but yeah, no, it's you can definitely see that, and I bet when the Italians really ran it, it was maybe a lot better. It really might have been.
They did a good job of running places like that.
Kansas City was better.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it's a great place. Check it out, the French Market, and I mean the French Market restaurant's right there. I just went and had some crawfish there last time I was there. They had the fresh crawfish early in the season. Peter, the select was pretty small, but yeah, it's a great area to spend an afternoon or maybe a full day if you want to spread it out when you're in New Orleans next. Now, Peter, I think our next episode, I keep forgetting about a classic place that we both love and a place that we've had different history with only because of COVID. So many of our experiences in New Orleans are sort of, like we said, the demarcation line is COVID, so pre and post COVID. But I do want to talk about Antoine's.
Oh, yeah.
And Antoine's is like, I mean, for a history buff / foodie, is a place that I know you have a lot of respect for because the things, what's the title? The longest running restaurant owned by a family in America, or?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking hundreds of years, and this place is still a classic place to go to in New Orleans. So I don't want to say it's not. But the reason why we haven't really hit on it is because we haven't really went there a lot lately. And the reason why is COVID took its toll, maybe more than other places on Antoine's. I mean, I didn't see as much turnover, as much change, as much, pricing differences, menu changes at Commander's or any other place we went to except Antoine's. And I don't know the reason for that and whatever. Maybe we can get into it. But I do want to talk about the place because it is when I first started going to New Orleans and everyone explained to me the history and just the royalty of this place, I was blown away by the service and everything that happened there the very first time I went there. I'm sure you had that same experience.
Oh, yeah. It held up to what it was. It was truly iconic those first times we went there. And I've tried to find information, or I don't know, you need to do a more deep dive into it, how this can't be the first time they went through a rough patch.
Yeah.
They've just been around too long, but to go through world wars and the Depression and all those, the collapses, the late 1800s, they went through so many times where it was a rough time. They had to come back from those things. So I expect that they will come back. And we are in no way saying that it is a bad restaurant.
No,
it's just different right now than what it was pre-COVID.
It was. And like a lot of that, I mean, I deal with the same issues in my own business. A lot of it has to do with staffing was an issue, not at my place, but down there in general. I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, we could do a whole show on just let's talk about the pre and post COVID, because there's just so much stuff that changed. Like the staffing down there was, I mean, you used to go into Antoine's and it was like, okay, this is hi, I'm your lead server and this is my son and this is his son, and it's like we're the 7th generation that worked here. And I'm like, I mean, this is stuff as a guy from Kansas City, I've never heard anything like that. We haven't been around long enough for us to even have that. So so it was amazing. And it's, and just the pricing of everything in today's world has changed. Some of the fun stuff that we used to go there for, as far as like a deal, and we can, again, I'll talk way more about this on the show, but it used to be, they had a lunch deal every year that it was like, okay, whatever year it was, our lunch deal is 2017. Our lunch deal is $20.17. And you get these 3 courses and you can pick from these 3 items each course. And when we first started going down there, I was like, this is unbelievable. I mean, it's like fantastic level service and China and just atmosphere for such a low price. And they still have a version of it. It's just changed because of the economy, really, and just everything that followed COVID.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that'll be next episode, and it will be a good episode because there's a lot of history there to cover.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. Antoine's, one of the greatest places in New Orleans. But if you're down in New Orleans, check out the French Market. It is a great place. Cafe du Monde is, everyone knows about their beignets. And you get some of those and stroll your way down through all the shops into the flea market. And it will definitely be a good time for you in New Orleans. So for Peter, I am Chris. Thanks for joining us on NOLA Outsider. Give us a 5-star review if you feel so, or tell your friends about us, because we enjoy having people listen to and having people talk to us via social or email about the greatest city in the world, New Orleans. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on NOLA Outsider.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the NOLA Outsider podcast. We'd love to hear about your experiences in the greatest city in the world. Email us at outsidanola@gmail.com. Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/NOLA Outsider or visit NOLAOutsider.com. See you next time on NOLA Outsider.